Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to look at ETF relative momentum. So relative momentum is a powerful tool for seeing how well an investment, in this case an ETF, is performing relative to its peer group. Absolute momentum is just price change. It can be choppy, moving from positive to negative. But relative momentum ranks between a maximum of 100 and a minimum of 0, with anything moving up the ranks in a consistent measure being worthy of further investigation. So for example, here we've got the Nasdaq QQQ. In May and June it's just bottoming along, and then in July it takes off, going from 20 to 40. So that's saying that there's quite a strong trend emerging within QQQ and it's worthy of further investigation. So Gary Antonacci uses dual momentum, which is essentially checking absolute momentum is positive, and we've got some absolute momentum numbers over here, and then looking at the highest relative momentum within a chosen group of ETFs, such as maybe US ones, emerging markets, or bonds. Now there's a lot of number crunching involved to get to these numbers, and I use a free website to do that for me called ETF Screen. Then I link information from ETF Screen into, guess what, this, a Google Sheet. And then I can further analyze the data and do whatever I want with it. I'm going to explain the Google Sheet to you now, and I'm going to give you a link to it in the description. Relative strength here is measured over several time periods within the last 12 months, with a greater weighting given to the more recent time periods. So energy, such as XLE, this is clearly a dominant theme, but we don't want to buy energy at the moment because it's been so strong for so long that there's a possibility here of mean reversion, where the price could revert back to growth that's more in line with a longer term trend, which would be lower than the current price growth we're seeing. So something like 55% year-on-year growth is not sustainable, and that's particularly true in commodity markets. So when beginning your momentum journey, the mistake can be buying what's already gone up a lot, and then you get this reversion to the mean and you end up losing quite a lot of money. And what we want to look for is more things like the QQQ, where there's still some possibility for further growth in its momentum rating, and we can also compare this number 42 to maybe some previous data that we've seen to see what the potential is for this ETF in the future. So Latin America, which is here, that has really seen the momentum fall off. So this is an example of when things go wrong. So you buy it at 90 because it's pretty high and you think, oh yeah, this is a really cheap market. There's lots of single digit PE ratios in this market, and then commodity prices pull back a bit and the whole thing collapses way down to about 14. Now this could potentially be a buying opportunity because it is a bit of a trough, but something that doesn't really have a good consistent long-term growth rate I would probably ignore. Now when we look at VT, this is total world stock market, so it's pretty stable. It is in the bottom half of the rankings, but you're benefiting from well, decent returns, fairly decent returns anyway, and yeah, and you're getting that lower volatility because you've got so much within the basket. So these ETFs are American ones and they're measured in US dollars, but the principles are essentially the same. If I was to translate everything to sterling, you know, the rankings wouldn't change. So what I have to do is just to look for equivalent ETFs in my local currency and ones that I can trade, and then just look at those instead. So this ETF Screen website also has various built-in screeners. This one is based on Buy Don't Hold from Leslie Masonson, and it has a select few ETFs, and then it looks at price versus simple moving average over 100 periods, 1 month return, MACD oscillator. If 2 or more of those are positive, then the result is a pass, and then it's ranking on 6-month momentum. And then you sell if the rank drops below 20. So ideally you're buying something that's moving up the ranks and selling something that's consistently moving down the rankings. And what I've done is I've created a list of ETFs that I think are trending, and these are ones that have consistent relative momentum growth over the last 4 weeks, and the relative momentum value is between 80 and 40, so it's not too overbought. And then what I can do is look down here and I see small cap value turns up a lot. I'm seeing technology here, there's some growth as well, so I can just look at it through here, see what's going on, and then all I can do is look at the long-term growth rate of such an ETF, the maximum drawdown, the duration of that drawdown, so that's kind of volatility and sort of like the risk that I might be taking with this fund, and then I can look at things like support and resistance. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please give it a like. As I said before, the link is in the description, and when you get the file, you just do File, Make a Copy, and then you're free to edit it and play with it as you want. So lots of other useful free files on the channel. If you go to the free files playlist, you'll find them all there.